You, I'm talking to you with the popcorn bucket and the raisinets in your mouth. This is the Film Buff Podcast. We're getting dirty today. We're talking, we're going to have a full Film Buff discussion about Taxi Driver 1976, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese. But we're going to introduce the question, is Taxi Driver more of a Paul Schrader movie or more of a Martin Scorsese movie? Now, I get it. Some people pronounce it as Martin Scorsese. Let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production. Take one.
Action.
Let's just set the stage to what is even bringing this movie to you guys. Taxi Driver is unfairly compared to the new Joker movies. Joker $1 billion movie, somehow thrown into an incel right wing QAnon online discussion. Joker's banned because it could inspire terrorism, but everyone says Joker is derived from two Martin Scorsese movies. 1976 is today's film, Taxi Driver, and the 1982 King of Comedy, also starring Robert De Niro, but that one has Jerry Lee Lewis. This is absolutely farcical. It's a joke. Taxi Driver has nothing to do with the Joker movie. Do they take place around the same time? Kinda, sorta. I don't know. One of them's in Gotham City. That looks like a 70s New York, but it's still Gotham, so who cares? It's such a meaningless discussion. I call it. This is what I call low energy crap. Like, we have to move on from it, right? But with my fiance, we do, we don't do it a lot, but we sit down and we do movies, we do some streaming shows. Right now, oh god, she's watching 6 Feet Under, which really falls off by season 5, by the way, and we're re-engaging with ER because we enjoyed The Pit so much. ER really is one of the best episodic week to week series ever. It is all the human drama in ER and the absolute realism, and I get it, some of it is over the top / Hollywood, but it's so there. But one night I put on Taxi Driver because we've seen the Joker together a few times, which is, some people might say that's weird, but we both enjoy Joker. So I put on Taxi Driver because I'm on Turner Classic Movies on HBO Max, and I say, hey, you would like this. You would like this movie. It's just like the Joker, and I use that. I use that as a sales premise, as a sales technique, and she immediately falls in and gets engaged with this movie. Now, Joker doesn't come back up at all. There's not one moment where she says, oh, this is like in the Joker. Oh, this is like in the Joker. There's your evidence that Taxi Driver has nothing to do with the Joker. It's just a good byline. It's a good pitch. It's a good elevator pitch if you need to let someone know what a movie is, which is kind of odd because we're in an age where when we say Joker is like Taxi Driver, and I came in, we're now minutes into this discussion point. No one knows what Taxi Driver is. Isn't that wild? I remember Quentin Tarantino, and just immediately how that became a VHS. You had to own it. You had to watch it. Taxi Driver had been on my radar before I ever heard Quentin Tarantino. Speaking of it, I believe there might have been a American cinema documentary on PBS. Might have been like 8, 9, 10, 12 episodes long. And they go into the films of the 70s. Keep in mind, Love Story, we spoke about that in February. Love Story, in my view, is the beginning of the subversive rebellion, the Hollywood rebellion that became 70s cinema. It all started with Love Story. But they go through this era, and they just described Taxi Driver as the most violent movie. People were horrified at the blood, at the violence, at the glowing red blood. And it's there. It's 100% there. When I first saw this movie, I said to myself, I'm like, this is overhyped garbage. Like, I don't understand. Not the movie, but the view of it being violent. And life happens. You get some years underneath your belt in Philadelphia, PA. You see real violence in the streets. What you do? I mean, go to Fishtown, go to Kensington, and yes, the Kensington people flew right into Fishtown. You see it, kiddo. You really do. So I'm watching this. I'm watching Taxi Driver through the eyes of someone that doesn't know about the history of cinema, doesn't know anything about the films of the 70s, can't even name another Martin Scorsese film, and fully get engaged. And I had two questions coming out of this time watching this flick. I feel this is more of a Paul Schrader movie. This is less of a Martin Scorsese movie. Now, maybe it's a Martin Scorsese era movie, because it does complement Raging Bull and Mean Streets. But if we go to Martin Scorsese's and Who's Knocking at My Door, that's his like New York dirty quadrilogy. But we go into some of these in between movies that Scorsese is involved in around this time. Boxcar Bertha, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, New York, New York, The King of Comedy, After Hours, all the way into 1986 and 1988. The Color of Money, The Last Temptation of Christ. And when he returns back to crime with Goodfellas in 1990, that film looks glossy. The cinematography is so... It's everything's posterized. It's such a beautiful movie to look at. It doesn't quite feel like it even belongs with Taxi Driver. But we get into Paul Schrader, writer director. The god awful internet will make you believe that he's the worst guy ever because he directed a movie called Cat People, and that's it. As if that guy has done nothing else with his career. As a writer, the Yakuza, Taxi Driver, Obsession, Rolling Thunder, Blue Collar, Hardcore, Old Boyfriends, American Gigolo, Raging Bull. And we're just in 1980. He's one of the most prolific screenwriters, storytellers in modern history. He has recent movies. I don't know if I've done it. I'm sorry. I'm just looking. Dog Eat Dog with Nicolas Cage. And, we got William Dafoe in that. And we absolutely love William Dafoe on this podcast. I don't know if I talked about this. I remember seeing it. Now, Dog Eat Dog, I believe, could be a follow-up or like somewhat of a spiritual sequel for Bad Lieutenant. But Nicolas Cage, I think, remade Bad Lieutenant. I might be conflating here. But we have movies like Affliction, Oscar run, right there. We have Touch right before Affliction, Bringing Out the Dead, another Scorsese forgotten movie. I mean, people will go from movies that got into trouble, Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, and Cat People. Everything else. Oh, I didn't even know he wrote The Canyons. People will target that movie too. So we have this screenwriter director who his early filmography for a while his films feel like Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is more in tune with his run of films than Scorsese. Watching this and experiencing a lot of the other films of Paul Schrader now throughout his career, again, Dog Eat Dog feels like it's coming from Taxi Driver. Martin Scorsese, we cannot say that. Martin Scorsese expands his film career to epics, to highs and lows. He just keeps going and making you can tell he's making films that he's interested in. He's not chasing the dollar after a certain point. I mean, heck, he directs Age of Innocence. And some of that you might say, well, Pete, he just can't always make the same movie. AKAPADers, I fully get that. I get that this guy is going to have a career. But he never quite returns to Taxi Driver. Right? And maybe he's chasing Oscars after a certain point. Maybe he wants an Oscar for Kundun. Maybe he wants an Oscar for Gangs of New York or The Aviator. He gets it for The Departed. He wants another Oscar run with The Wolf of Wall Street. He wants another Oscar run with Silence. Had another Oscar run with The Irishman. Had another Oscar run for Killers of the Flower Moon. That's all he seems to be capable of or wants to do. Casino has the Goodfellas problem. It's shot too well. It's too glossy. Color of Money could have been dirtier, could have looked dirtier, could have been dirtier. It's coming from a dirty black and white movie, The Hustler. That could have complemented Taxi Driver. But we see that Scorsese has grown out of this era, and he never quite returns. For Paul Schrader, we know that you're convinced it's in his DNA. I didn't realize he did autofocus. Man, Schrader is a weapon. To me, it's a Paul Schrader movie. I mean, if we were to approach a new discussion point when it comes to Taxi Driver, because that's what we do here on the Film Buff Podcast. We cross bridges. Now, I apologize to all of you if you guys don't know what the hell this movie is, and you're hoping for some type of like Wikipedia synopsis. I'm sorry, maybe that's another episode. But for here, we're asking the question: is Taxi Driver a Martin Scorsese movie or a Paul Schrader movie? I think I had another question in there. Let's just move on. Wrap this baby up. Let's go.
Okay, that's a wrap.